What's up, my friends in film fandom, wherever you may be and however you may be watching? Thank you so much for giving us just a little bit of your time. Going undead tonight. As you can see, we've got the nicknames. I am Santa Cruz. We got, I guess Tex doesn't need a whole lot of changing of the name. And then, of course, my hetero life mate Jeremy comes in full uniform. As always, going the extra mile, being presentable for all of you. Give him a round of applause. Jeremy deserves all of it. Jeremy and Rachel both for being such wonderful cosplayers. But we are here, of course, to talk about one of our favorite movies and really one of the great zombie movies really of all time, and that's Zombieland. Here to talk about that with me is, of course, my hetero life mate Jeremy. What do you got going on, brother?
Well, you know, all this. Yeah, and I definitely didn't do this in the last, I don't know, half hour. But I guess that's, I mean, I'm going to stroke my own dick here, but that's a testament to mine and her skill, all this stuff that we learned how to do over, many years of doing haunt stuff. But, yeah, and I even got Ride the Lightning, baby. There's the bell tolls. I have a Master of Puppets shirt, but I'll save that for the sequel. I wish I had to Ride the Lightning, but I do have Ghostbusters, so it's still relevant.
It is still very relevant.
Also,
and of course,
I know Tex will like it. Thank God for rednecks.
Thank God for rednecks and all their guns, all their 350 bajillion guns that are all around here that some people seem to hate. And then, of course, the chef from Lone Star State, the man who just wants a damn Twinkie. Our man Tex, what's up, brother?
I see we have some of the undead with us, and even one sign of a bite, you're getting this, buddy. Like right to the brain, just right to the head. So you might want to watch out. But no, what's up, everybody? This movie just proves you need people like me, because when the shit hits the fan, you're running to my house. All right, just saying. So be grateful.
Yeah, I was listening to a podcaster, I don't know, the last couple of years, who was a appreciator of the Second Amendment as we are, and he said it was really funny that after the pandemic started, so many like anti-gun friends of his were calling him up and saying, "Hey, you got a gun?"
Mm-hmm. I know a few people like that myself.
They're like, "Yeah, well, maybe next time you'll be more prepared." But obviously, the movie we're here to talk about today is Zombieland, one of the great zombie movies that has ever been made. Part of the reason why the zombie genre has had such a run of success over the last several years. Zombieland is a 2009 American post-apocalyptic zombie comedy film directed by Ruben Fleischer. This actually was his theatrical debut, his very first film.
Yes,
and written by Rhett Reese and Paul Wernick. It stars Woody Harrelson, Jesse Einsberg. Yeah, totally different Woody.
Different
Woody. Yeah. Emma Stone, Abigail Breslin, and Bill Murray. In the film, Tallahassee, played by Harrelson, meets up with Columbus, played by Einsberg, as well as Wichita, played by Emma Stone, and Little Rock, played by Breslin. They make their way on an extended cross-country road trip to find a sanctuary free from all zombies. Zombieland premiered at Fantastic Fest in Austin on September 25th of 2009 and was theatrically released all across the United States on October 2nd by Sony Pictures. The film received positive critical reception with praises for its screenplay, dialogue, comedy, and cast performances, especially Murray's glorified cameo. It grossed $102 million worldwide, becoming the then highest grossing zombie film in the U.S. until the release of World War Z in 2013. It was a moderate financial success. It made $102 million, actually $102.4 million, I think, is its official box office, against a budget of about $23.5 million. But it did receive positive reviews from critics. On Rotten Tomatoes, the film has an approval rating of 89% based on reviews from 259 critics, with an average rating of 7.4 out of 10. The website's consensus review reads, quote, "Wickedly funny and featuring plenty of gore, Zombieland is proof that the zombie subgenre is far from dead." I think most of us can agree that the zombie subgenre, at least at this time anyway, was far from dead. Where it's gone from then to now, I don't know, I guess is up for debate. But I mean, I'll start with you, Tex. Give me kind of a brief overview of what you thought of Zombieland.
This is one of my favorite zombie movies of all time. I have a tradition. Every month in the year, I watch a different set of films. And I always start January out with zombies because, we're starting fresh. They're alive again, whatever. It's kind of a nerdy thing I do. but I do one each weekend, and Zombieland makes my top 4. I adore this movie. It's got good gore, great gore in it. It's funny. It's comedy that I like. It's not done overbearingly, and it still has its scary spots within the film. It's kind of one that you can watch with everybody. It's when we were, whenever we were looking for a movie to watch, we were looking, not too scary. Frank had talked about Terrifier, then Jeremy kind of came up with this idea in the middle. It's one everybody can enjoy, and it's just a fun movie to watch. There's so much to like about this thing.
Yeah, I agree with a lot of that. Jeremy, I don't know. You and Tex are the resident horror aficionados here on this channel. Tex obviously was pretty fond of the movie. What do you think? Quick review paragraph of Zombieland.
It's a fun time where you can.
Hey, do you have any Twinkies?
What's up, D-Hawk? No, all I got is some.
Give me a GD. That is my GD 20.
Half it or a snowball? I guess not. Okay. Yeah. No, it's like Tex said. It's got. It hits you in the face with the gore and the blood. As you would need in a zombie movie. It's just a fun time, and it's. Honestly, I still laugh at it just as hard as I did when I saw it the first time. I'm sure I'll get into this, but everyone's sitting down for this, right? I was at a Kmart. For those of you who are too young to know what that is, don't worry about it. But I just saw it on a shelf, and I was like, what is that? That looks like fun. And I'm like, who's that girl with the chainsaw? Huh. I'm going to buy it just because she's hot. So that began. So this movie holds a special place in my heart because I could watch this as many times as I did and still watch it and never get tired of it. I keep reevaluating my top 5 movies of all time, and I'm like, I watched it again today, and I'm like, maybe I should sneak this in there because I love this movie to death. And it gave me my lifelong crush of Emma Stone. So she walks out there in her leather jacket and her bangs and her black eye makeup. I'm like, yeah, I don't have a type. No. You saw her. So it's a fun movie. If you've never seen it, I don't know what you're doing with your life. Please go watch it. It's on Netflix. Not sponsored.
Not sponsored. Not yet. But yeah, I agree. Well, first off, Jeremy, I'm pretty sure this is probably where a lot of celebrity crushes on Emma Stone kind of started. So don't think that you're alone in that group. But yeah, this is the best comedy horrors. I've said it 100 times. They lean a little bit towards the horror, but they're still fairly balanced. This one does kind of exactly that. The horror is, the zombie, the people getting eaten, the, blood, spit, and ass everywhere is very prevalent in this movie. But that's the visual side of it. The dialogue side of it is very much about the comedy. And I think this movie does strike that really fantastic balance that you need for a good horror comedy that lasts. And on top of that, this movie's just loaded with some really amazing, talented people. Woody Harrelson, who already was a big star. Going all the way back to Cheers and White Men Can't Jump and all the stuff from the 80s and into the 90s.
Oh, yeah.
But and then you add in Jesse Einsberg, whose career was kind of hitting his upward trajectory. Emma Stone, Abigail Breslin, same thing. Their careers had already kind of started, but they were like on their meteoric rise to the top. And it's that kind of thing where you get all of them together and magic happens. And when you catch magic in a bottle with a movie, you get things like Zombieland. It's got something for the horror fans. It's got something for the comedy fans. It's even got some chick flick vibes to it. There's the relationship that doesn't overpower and annoy you over the course of the movie. You kind of get to see this odd relationship grow. You even get to see kind of the brotherly relationship between Tallahassee and Columbus start to grow a little over the course of this movie. So there's a lot to really enjoy, a lot of different angles that you can see this movie from that are really super entertaining. But for me, let's start with the opening sequence. I'm gonna put this to you guys and to all of you in the chat. Which one was the better opening sequence? Zombieland or Deadpool? Because the opening sequence to me, the opening credits rather, was it was really, really fun. I was watching it, today, and I was just like, this and Deadpool are really close to me, just the way they were all done. They kind of incorporated it into the movie. I'll go to you first, Jeremy. Which one do you think was better?
Gee, I don't know. Let me think about that for a minute. I don't know. I've seen Deadpool, I think, once. And it's not to say that I don't like Deadpool. It's not that it's not a great movie and that I did not laugh my ass off at it. Believe me. Ryan Reynolds is absolutely a treasure, and he's an even bigger treasure as Deadpool. However, I kind of like this one. I like this one better because, I mean, how do you not get pumped up seeing people just like shoot zombies in the face to Metallica? How do you not? But like, I mean, we know how I am about movies that are done 30, 40 fucking years later. You make a sequel. Now they sneaked it in at 10 years, which I was like, I'm a little apprehensive, but I'll watch it. But I'm not going to lie, when they all just walk up to the White House and then fucking Master of Puppets kicks in and they're just like, again, blasting zombies in the face, I'm like, oh, we're back. We're back in it. Let's go. I don't know. Gets me more pumped up and more hyped. So I kind of, I don't know. I dig the Metallica and zombie killing.
Yeah, For Whom the Bell Tolls was kind of the perfect song selection for that whole opening sequence. I mean, that you can't beat that one at all. But I don't know. Tex, what about you? Opening sequence. This one, Deadpool, both very well put together, in my opinion. Which one did you like better?
Oh, this is no competition. Deadpool, whatever, who cares? Zombieland beats them with a baseball bat, hands down. This may be the greatest opening to a film ever. I mean, there's no slow build up. There's no, okay, we're gonna introduce our characters and get you attached to them. This is not the Eli Roth school of film here, where you take 45 minutes to get attached. Now we're going to be bashing Amber Head in the head in 5 minutes here, let you know what kind of movie you're watching. I'm just saying, this is
so hard. Best part of the fucking movie. I even took a snapshot of it. I'm like, this is why I watch this movie right here.
This has to be Johnny Depp's favorite movie. You just that one scene alone, he goes back and watches that over and over again for what that was.
I'm sure it is now,
but no.
I want to know how many times.
Right, that's what I'm saying. Now, retroactively, it's his favorite movie. Is what I'm saying. But yeah, no, the opening to this film is tremendous. For whom the was one of the greatest of all time already. There's very little talking in it. Just that guitar riff and that bass and everything, incredible. But yeah, no, this opening did give it all the awards it wins, no doubt.
I gotta take this background off because it's starting to piss me off.
Yeah,
I need to do.
I have a tough time deciding between the two. I'm gonna go with Zombieland because I think it's first. So I'm gonna give the original its love. It was just really great the way they worked along, the way that they made all the opening credits, as well as his rules throughout the course to be kind of 3D and gave the movie visually a different kind of that extra little bit of dimension. I think that one is probably a little bit better. But let's talk real quick about Ruben Fleischer. I mean, even today, a young director, not a long list of feature films to his credit yet. It's getting longer every day, and some big names. I don't know. What do you think about this as a kind of a coming out party for Ruben Fleischer? Jeremy, I'll go to you first.
I mean, I mentioned it in what was it was Blue Beetle, right? Because we said that was also a directorial debut.
Yes.
I think I mentioned my first thought went straight to this movie with Ruben Fleischer, this being his first movie. And like I said, you want to, I mean, I just had it up there, Ride the Lightning. I mean, catch that shit in a bottle, ride it all the way to the fucking top, dude. What a hell of a movie to start with. I think it's pretty awesome. You can even, I kind of watched it again and I'm like, I can see where it's kind of like, where it was maybe a little more low budget. I'm like, yeah, that's definitely like a little store somewhere in the middle of nowhere. It was like the Indian, Native American rather store that's in bumfuck nowhere as well. But I mean, the writing, the comedy, like I said, the comedy beats, again, the effects, the zombies. I don't know. It's fun. Okay. It's going to my top 5. I have a list. I'm going to put it in there now. It's bugging me. If that's your first, I mean, you never forget your first. And I've never forgot this movie my entire life, and I never will. So, oh my God.
Yeah, how about you, Tex? I mean, again, Ruben Fleischer, not the longest resume in Hollywood, but he's got a couple of really good hits on here. I mean, what did you think of this as being kind of his first time out?
He hit a grand slam with this one. I mean, everything about this film. I can't think of one thing that I would change within this movie, and that's very rare to say. Most even films that I love, I can normally find some kind of gripe or complaint, but this one is just perfect. No, Fleischer, he's a great director. He hasn't done a lot. He's actually done a lot of work with Jesse Eisenberg. He did the
3 films, yeah.
Did y'all see the 30 Minutes or Less movie? Kind of like a weed type movie, kind of like a Seth Rogen kind of deal. That's oddly. I'm not a Seth Rogen guy. There's really only 2 movies that he's even kind of attached to that I like. It's for 40-Year-Old Virgin and 30 Minutes or Less. But no, that one was good. And then he also did. I don't think he did the original Now You See Me, that Magician's Heist movie.
Yeah,
I think it was 2 or 3 he directed. I can't remember which one that he did. But he's one of these directors like, kind of like a Snyder or whoever. He finds a certain group of actors that he likes and he goes with them. And he works well with Eisenberg. And it was as far as this one goes, he couldn't have done any better, man. I mean, hats off to him.
Yeah, I'm looking at his filmography here. Obviously, his first one was Zombieland. He was the director of that. Then he did 30 Minutes or Less. He was directed that. He was the director and one of the co-executive producer of Gangster Squad, which is a movie that I didn't realize he had directed until just
that
now.
Also has Emma Stone.
It also has Emma Stone.
I've never seen that movie.
That again is loaded with talent. He was a writer for Two Night Stand, which is some rom-com that I never watched. I know the movie, I just never watched it. Something called Unicorn Store with Brie Larson and Samuel L. Jackson, John Cusack, Bradley Whitford. Never heard of it until just now. I haven't watched it. It's on. I think it's on Netflix, as I recall. Yes, I think it's a Netflix production. Then he brought us Venom, the first Venom movie, which that movie could have gone all kinds of wrong because a lot of people were like, "How do you do Venom without Spider-Man?" That movie is very, very good. And then the next year he came out with. He was one of the co-executive producers on The Mule, the Clint Eastwood movie. And then, of course, he came out in 2019 with Zombieland Double Tap. He was the co-executive producer of Venom Let There Be Carnage. Again, Woody Harrelson. A really good movie. And honestly, Uncharted wasn't a great movie, but he was the director and co-executive producer of that. It wasn't bad. I mean, it was a better Indiana Jones movie than Indiana Jones and the Dial of Destiny. If I'm being honest, but I mean, it was a good adventure movie like we haven't had since the heydays of Indiana Jones and the Last Crusade and all that stuff. Not to mention he's done some TV. He's done Funny or Die, which you haven't watched. Funny or Die, you're missing out. He's done some episodes of Superstore, which was I've never actually watched it, but I've heard a lot of people say it's funny. Santa Clarita Diet, again, I didn't watch it, but they said it was good. He did co-executive produce the White House Plumbers, which is something that's getting ready to come out soon. Miniseries about the whole Watergate thing. I've actually read a lot of really good reviews about that. And then, of course, a bunch of commercials for everything from, Burger King, McDonald's, Boost Mobile, ESPN, and then a bunch of videos for different people. Most of them are rappers I've never heard of. But yeah, just looking at his filmography, his feature filmography, he's done very, very well for himself. And I can't knock what this guy's got going on. Look, for your first time out, to get a guy like Woody Harrelson, who was already really, really good, already at his peak at the time, a bunch of these young upcoming guys, and to really make a movie that has stood the test of time. That movie looks like, and Bill Murray. Yeah, that movie could have come out yesterday, and it would still be just as good. I mean, the movie was a little bit ahead of its time. So I can't knock Ruben Fleischer at all for the work that he put into this movie. It's kind of like, Jeremy will appreciate this. We look at what's been done with the Boondock Saints. It was never meant to be a $1 billion Oscar-winning epic movie. It was just a labor of love for these actors and filmmakers, and those movies are fucking phenomenal. So when you put all that shit aside and you just really pour everything that you are into characters and story, you come up with some pretty amazing shit. And I think that's kind of what it was with Zombieland. He probably was like, I'm gonna take a shot at this, and it's probably gonna fucking fall flat and and not do shit, but they're giving me $23 million for it, and I've got Woody Harrelson and Bill Murray, so I got to do something. And then he comes up with this because he just concentrates on what makes movies great.
Well, and those movies came out 10 years apart too. Boondock Saints and Boondock Saints 2.
Yes, very true.
So,
very true.
And they still slap. Honestly, I didn't hate the sequel. I still thought it was fun.
Oh yeah, the sequel's still very good, and I'm really looking forward to the third one when eventually it does come out. I mean, I would imagine they've wrapped filming on it probably a year and a half or 2 years ago, but hopefully it'll come out at some point. I'm looking forward to that finally coming out. But
give me another Bill Murray a little bit in there. I don't care how you do it or how you have to do it. Just give me his cameo, damn it.
Yeah, let's talk about the cast. I'll go to you first, Tex. I mean, this movie is carried by 4 people, other than maybe Bill Murray. But I mean, this movie is carried by 4 people. Usually, it's pretty difficult to get a small cast to carry it. Even a movie that's only like an hour and a half or so long, like this one, an hour 40 minutes long. Usually, you kind of need a lot of people to kind of come together and do little things. But I mean, you don't get tired of these 4 people for 90 or 100 minutes at all. What do you think of the cast, and who really jumps out at you?
Oh, the cast is great. I mean, I'm not a huge Emma Stone guy. She kind of, what was the movie she did with the McLovin guy? What was that?
Superbad.
What was
that? Was her first movie.
That was when I first saw her, and I'm like, I just find her annoying, but I was like, she's probably the most perfect casting for Poison Ivy that I've ever seen. Why she hasn't played her yet is shocking.
Because
Jesse Eisenberg, he fits the well. She already died doing that, so she's free. She can move on.
But Spider-Gwen in a different universe.
No, my favorite. There's no argument. It's Tallahassee. Jeremy and I have had this conversation before. Tallahassee is my favorite person in any zombie. I've seen so much zombie stuff. Tallahassee is my number one. I mean, he's got my boy Dale Earnhardt. He's got his car right here in spirit form. Okay, it's got to be Tallahassee. The mentality, how he's the way that he takes the horrible situation of the world is gone. It's not coming back, but we're going to have some fun with it. I'm going to spray paint every vehicle I get with a big number 3 on the side. The minute I saw that, I was like, okay, who knows me that wrote this story? Because I do have an Earnhardt 3 on my truck as well. Not on the door, but it is what it is. No, Tallahassee's great. He's when just the scene alone where he finds the bag of guns in the Hummer, and thank God for rednecks, he just wastes so much ammunition. It's like you're just letting every dead walker within 5 miles know where you are, but he's just embracing that moment so well. And then obviously the scene where he's drying his tears with $100 bills. It's like none of this money means anything anymore. There's so many Tallahassee moments in this film I can go on about. But yeah, Woody Harrelson's the man. I mean, he's great in everything that he's ever done. I'm a big fan. So,
yeah, Jeremy, how about you? I mean, the cast, again, it was kind of the perfect mixture of everything. What do you think of the cast, other than Emma Stone, who stands out to you?
Well, all right, next. You already said it for me. No, that also didn't definitely start me on a whole thing of wanting to see every single movie she's ever made and continue to do so. But anyway, I digress. Maybe try not to be a cop-out and say Bill Murray, because, I mean, that's still just funny as hell. It's super meta because he's just being himself, even when he gets shot. And, I'm sure I would also regret doing Garfield, but it's whatever, man. I still thought it was funny. I thought it was kind of funny. Maybe because I had a cat named Garfield, so maybe that's why. But and I always imagined he'd have like a Bill Murray voice, so maybe that's why I thought it was okay. Yeah, again, it's like you said, it's only 4. Well, as he said, 6 people left in the world, because let's not forget Sister Cynthia Knickerbocker, who dropped a whole piano like a fucking Looney Tune onto a zombie, and she got Zombie Kill of the Week. So how can you go wrong with that?
I want to know who regulates that. Like, what team of administrators gives that award out every week? Like, obviously they would have to be alive, right? But what commissioning board is giving out that trophy? Is it like a baseball trophy. What I wonder what you get for zombie kill of the week. I've always wondered.
I have a little bit of the trivia actually. I can explain that to you where the whole zombie kill of the week comes from.
Oh, okay.
But
it was a TV show first.
Yes, that's why. But
I don't love this movie or anything.
To me, the brilliance of the casting, and I have not been a big Jesse Einsberg fan through most of his career. I think some of the stuff he's been kind of miscast in, but when he's cast correctly, he actually really does give the movie a little something extra. You've got Tallahassee, who is very capable of, in my series on my watch list, listening to me again for some reason. You've got Tallahassee, who is a very capable person that can do all kinds of shit. You have the two girls who are very capable. Obviously, they're con artists. They can handle themselves. It seems like the odd man out is Jesse Einsberg character, who's this kind of stick in the mud, uptight, irritable bowel syndrome, nerdy. He's the one person who doesn't fit in this group of four people, but yet he does kind of complete the circle. He's the antipode of kind of the core of what the other three people are. So that's kind of what makes him the perfect foil, the perfect partner for a guy like Tallahassee, is that the one or two weaknesses that Tallahassee has, it seems like Columbus fills those in a little bit, and as a unit they're better, even though he's not the guy I'm going to run to in the middle of a zombie apocalypse to protect me. Tallahassee's more that guy, but he plays his role throughout the course of the film, not just in the situation they find themselves in with the zombies and all that, but just kind of from a character standpoint. It is kind of a different telling of the Odd Couple. You got this, you got the one guy who's a sports writer, his chews cigars, and he's kind of a slob. And then you have the other guy over here who's a bit of a stick in the mud, kind of uptight, very proper, very clean and organized. And those two things shouldn't work together, but they do. And when that happens, it can be really fun to watch. And that's kind of what it is. And then, of course, you factor in that most of the movie, they're butting heads with the two girls who are really just about the same thing that Tallahassee and Columbus are about. They're just kind of surviving this crazy world they live in. And it ends up kind of this weird confluence of personalities that by the end of the movie, they figured out how to make it work so that they can all survive a little bit easier. So yeah, to me, it's Jesse Einsberg that kind of stands out because, like I said, where I'm mostly annoyed by some of the stuff that he did, Lex Luthor, while I'm mostly annoyed at some of the things that he's done.
I liked his Lex Luthor. I heard
his Lex Luthor was awful.
I heard
his Lex Luthor was awful. I mean, they tried to actually give him the bald look in the post-credit scene, and I was like, okay, you're kind of getting there, but nah, he wasn't Lex Luthor. I mean, in all fairness,
he didn't have time to get to it. He had half a film in a post-credit scene in Justice League. He didn't have time to be a great Lex Luthor.
He didn't have the look. Sorry, he didn't have the look. He didn't have the presence. I always see him as that nerdy guy from The Social Network who played Mark Zuckerberg or some shit. You can't play Mark Zuckerberg and then play a supervillain. That's really, really difficult to pull off. He's a convincing nerd.
Zuckerberg's not a villain?
Well, not a supervillain. Not yet. Give him a couple of years. I'm sure he'll develop some kind of a serum or some kind of a weaponized suit.
He did Andrew Garfield's Spider-Man wrong. Damn it, he's a supervillain.
True, but yeah, I mean, to me, it was Jesse Einsberg. He's the one outcast in this movie that the movie works because of him. If you just had the three of the other ones running around being assholes with each other and shooting zombies, it would have been kind of a one-dimensional film. I think that Jesse Einsberg kind of gives the film a little something else, a little more depth, a little more dimension. So to me, he's the one that kind of stands out. But I mean, again, you've only got four people really. Bill Murray kind of included in late in the second act. But yeah, I mean, he's the one that kind of makes the movie to me. But now let's talk about special effects. And I mean, I know this is the kind of stuff that you guys are all into, especially Jeremy, obviously, because of his look tonight. I mean, it's so lazy to just put blood on people and stuff and have them run around, kind of like this picture right here, which I think this picture is not the best I could find for the special effects. But I mean, you do have to have a lot of blood getting thrown around, a lot of flesh being eaten, and this movie does. It keeps the special effects simple and grounded, but I think still very, very good. I don't know, Tex, what did you think overall of just the special effects? Because there was a lot of zombies getting shot. There was a lot of limbs getting lopped off, that kind of thing. I mean, did the special effects work for you overall for the movie?
Oh, I thought they worked very well. I mean, I know we've all three of us have seen ungodly amount of zombie kills from movies and television throughout the years, but this one this came out at the time of when like the fast zombie was really prevalent. You had 28 Days Later, you had Zack Snyder's Dawn of the Dead. So they went with the fast moving kind of zombie that it's just ferocious. They can just go forever. And just like the way that they rip people's throats out, you just see the guts just fly across the screen. I mean, it's just so cool. One thing I do like about these zombies is they don't look like Greg Nicotero zombies, very exaggerated with the cheekbones sticking out of the face. These are more of the fleshy, gooey type with just bites and scars and sores and whatever. And I mean that it's kind of refreshing because that's when there's so much zombie content. The best way to differentiate yourself is what your zombies are, especially the look of them. And I mean, my favorite zombie in this film, the clown zombie at the end, just the way he looks. My God, that thing is. You've got the bright green hair, the blood, the sores on the face. It's just so cool. They're understated, but they look realistic in this movie, and it works for what it is. And the special effects were great. I mean, obviously there's CGI in it. They didn't actually have the roller coaster knocking 3 people, flying across the yard or whatever at the theme park. But, it works. I mean, it's understated. The CGI was used properly. The practical effects were great. Like I said, I have no complaints. I have nothing to gripe about or argue about with this film. That's it's awesome.
Yeah, Jeremy, just looking at you, I would say you have some skin in the game where it comes to some special effects and some makeup work. But how did what did you think of the special effects and the zombie makeup?
Yeah, I was gonna say, or a lack thereof of skin, but if I had had more time, there was gonna be like half my face hanging off and shit. But I mean,
right?
Yeah, because I would have called this right here. I mean, I'm actually talking with somebody I work with at the haunt right now, and they're like, "Oh, that looks good." I'm like, to me, this is like, "Oh, I did this in like 20 minutes," and they're like, "Well, yeah, that's better than some people can do." I'm like, "I guess, but if you know what you're doing," and I was like, even this, my hair, like pro tip that I actually learned from The Walking Dead. Just put conditioner through your hair, and boom, you got like matty, ratty looking zombie hair. I'll knock my shit over. So I mean, I appreciate the like that. Like, I think there's like different tiers of like zombies. There's like the ones that are gonna be on screen or a special zombie like that you're gonna see. It's like that's the ones you put all the work into. You got like that's got definitely prosthetics. That's got some like thick blood. It's got runny blood. It's got obviously the makeup on him, very well done, because that's gonna be in the camera. It's gonna be up in your grill, like when he's growling at him, and then you see the drool and the blood coming out of his mouth. It looks horrifying. But then you kind of get like second tier stuff where it's like maybe a group shot of like the zombies running. You probably have them done up. They got blood and maybe a couple prosthetics and scars and shit like that. And then if you got like a big crowd, I don't know, everybody walks through the rain shower of blood. Just here, everybody gets a little bit, just because you get the idea of what's going on. Like there's a whole crowd of them, and it still works. I appreciate the close-up shit. Like, I mean, when there's 2 times, like right in the beginning, you see that like Secret Service agent biting that dude's neck out, and you see like the tendons and shit like coming out of his mouth, and I'm like, oh my God.
Yeah.
I'd never seen like, you went with like the muscles and the ligaments and tissues and shit coming out of his mouth. I'm like, okay, I see you, Zombieland. Okay. That's why the rule number 2 is the most important rule. You always double tap.
Always double.
The bad guy's never dead. If you've ever watched one horror movie, the bad guy's never dead.
Not my horror movie.
You shoot him in the head 27 times, chop his body up. If you turn your back on him for too long in the third act, he's gonna pop back up and take a shot at you.
Well,
but
you're telling me Michael Myers is gonna crawl out of that wood chipper?
He may. He may. You never know. Well, depends on if Jimmy Lee Curtis needs another movie check or not.
Even Scream. even Scream kind of makes fun of this. You always have to shoot him in the head. Every Ghostface at the end of whatever Scream movie it is, they always pop back up mysteriously somehow, and they have to be shot in the head at some point before they actually die. So it is what it is. I mean, it's a trope for a reason.
It's actually funny. This isn't even actually a prosthetic. That is an actual scar on my face. And all I did was trail some blood in that little channel right there and let that dry. And look at that. That already looks awesome as it is. So maybe don't get attacked by a dog when you're a kid, but it can work out for you later in life, I guess, is the bright side of that.
Well, Harrison Ford, that scar on his chin. I mean,
true. Or Jason Momoa's got that one across his eyebrow. Yeah, and a broken bottle cut him. So.
Yeah, for me, I mean, look, like I said, there were parts of it, the quick scenes like this one right here. It's obviously just some extras with some fucking whatever, some blood thrown on
clothes and blood, yeah.
But that's the kind of thing that you do for those shots. For shots like this one, however, like Jeremy said, the ones that are going to get close-ups, the ones that you're going to spend a lot of camera time on, those are the ones that you really pay attention to detail. And I wish I could have found the shot where his face is almost full screen, where it shows like the ooze and pus, whatever, coming out of his mouth and the whole thing. That to me is the money shot. And that one, I don't think I went and saw this in theaters. I don't think I saw it for the first time as an audio, but out in secondary media. But I really wish I could go back and see that in theater, just like the full screen. Just being like this clown face of whatever, all the chaos in front of me. That would have been pretty cool to see. Maybe one of these days I'll put it back in theaters. I'll get a chance to go see it. But yeah, I mean the special effects, I can't knock it, especially because, like I said, I never got into the zombie stuff the way some people did. There's been some things that I've liked. For the most part, I didn't fall for the Walking Dead. I watched most of the first season. It didn't do it for me. But I mean, it got so played out so fast because let's face it, even before Zombieland, even before Walking Dead, before this resurgence of zombies has been something that's been played with in film, either horror or comedy or otherwise, for a long, long time now. I mean, going back to the 50s, almost the early years of filmmaking. Back to the
Caesar,
even before that, White Zombie.
Yeah, back to the Cesar Romero days.
Technically,
Living Dead
technically Frankenstein is a zombie movie.
Yeah,
if you really want to get technical about it.
So is the Mummy technically too. He's a zombie, I suppose.
Right.
But I mean, yeah, they've come a long way from just doing like some shading and making the cheeks and the eyes look kind of sunken in to really like doing the wounds and showing pieces of like the neck and body just not there, exposed to the world. But the close-up stuff I thought was fantastic. Again, the far away stuff, I wish they would have done a little bit more, especially considering some of the people that were involved. I'll go into that a little bit in the trivia later too. But what can you expect? I mean, they're trying not to blow the budget up for this movie. They didn't know what it was going to be at the time. They didn't know what it would do at the time. So if you're balling on a budget, I mean, you gotta make sure you're putting your money in the right place. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Well, one thing I did, I don't know if it's part of your trivia or not, but one thing that I did learn through researching this was they had their makeup down for the most intense zombies they had was 90 minutes to get it done. And that is very quick because usually, I mean, Jeremy knows this, some of these makeup processes can take hours to just apply. And
as a haunt actor, I know.
Right, that's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
So, I mean, for them to be able to do what they did here, for their take on the zombie in 90 minutes works. Yeah, we're so used to, like I said, the Greg Nicotero Walking Dead, full body, just prosthetics everywhere zombie that
they look awesome.
This works. I mean, like you showed the clown zombie there at the end. Yeah, there's more put into that because once again, that's what Greg Nicotero refers to as either a hero zombie or a zombie with a job. So basically, we have a zombie and he's in his mechanic's gear or his police outfit. You know what he is. We're putting him on camera a lot. You're going to see him. But for just like that crowd shot at the theme park, one thing that I do like about that is we don't know how long they've been zombies. So they're not completely distraught. They're not completely torn apart. So, we can see the aging of, okay, this is what you look like day one. This is what you look like 2 weeks from now, whatever. Obviously, you're going to decay and look differently. So to have some compare and contrast, I think you need to have in a zombie film. Otherwise, it kind of falls flat.
I feel like the passage of time in this film from when the zombie stuff breaks out to where we find the people in this film is a relatively short amount of time. I feel like it's only about a year, maybe two at the most. It's still very new in the whole situation because
Actually,
I mean, usually
didn't he say in the beginning of the movie it had been like a few weeks or some shit?
I don't recall him saying a few weeks, but I mean, I feel like that might have been a little bit too short. But I mean, but even then, it's like if you compare, like we watched Last of Us on HBO Max. That's been at that point, it's been what 10 years
20,
from when
20
everything
years.
goes down to when we see our 20 years from when everything starts to when we see people going through this situation in the show. So over 20 years, there's going to be a lot of aesthetic changes to the world, whereas this one hasn't really undergone a lot of those aesthetic changes. I mean, the amusement park that they're in is fairly untouched. I mean, all the electricity still works, so it probably hasn't been a long time. But which is interesting, and I think kind of plays into the plot of the movie. Jeremy, it's like I said, zombies. They've been around for a while, not new, but did the plot of the movie kind of keep the zombie stuff a little bit fresh? Now, remember, this happened before. This movie came out before The Walking Dead came out, as I recall.
This is pre-Walking
Dead.
Oh,
so,
yeah.
I mean, was this still a fresh enough plot at the time?
It works for me. I mean, obviously, you have this world that's still kind of adjusting to having zombies in it. Enough that you can at least write down like 32 different rules about it. So then long enough for that, I suppose. Actually, I was going to say, to be fair, I think Left 4 Dead, that takes place like 2 weeks after the first infection, which is insane. So whatever that shit is, keep that away from everybody. Yeah, it's horrifying. It works, and it makes you, I mean, the zombies still pose a threat, even you would think, though, like I said, I feel like it's enough time, but maybe still not quite enough time where you don't think, I know you're trying to do a nice thing for your sister, but you would think turning on a whole amusement park, you don't think like you're in LA.
Yeah.
You don't think there's just a whole herd of zombies right over that fence. I mean, yeah, I don't know. That's kind of your fault. But it still makes you feel like, again, you care about these characters. And even at the end, you're rooting for him to make it. And honestly, twice this series has made me think, oh fuck, do not kill Tallahassee. Oh shit, is he gonna die? Is he gonna die? He's gonna do something cool. But please don't kill this man. Don't play with my heart like that, please. I can't take it. Yeah, it works and it still makes it fun. That's something that people complain about The Walking Dead. They're like, oh, how is it even a threat? I'm like, well, the point with that is like people are the problem too, like that's always going to be a thing no matter what. The point is, don't get caught by a whole herd of zombies. These are like slow Romero type zombies. They're one or two. Who cares? There's even shots in the show where they're just walking and there's like two in the background. They don't even care. I'm like, no. But if you still make your undead a threat, I mean, good on you. I mean, these sprint and climb shit, which is even more horrifying. But yeah,
very clumsily, but yeah,
they're trying. They're doing their best. They get better in the sequel.
They do get better. They mutate a bit in the sequel. But Tex, what do you think? I mean, zombies, not new. They've been around in movies for a long time. Did the plot work for you?
Well, the plot works. I mean, obviously, in zombie media, plot is realistically, there's only two plots. We're going to find the cure, or we're just trying to survive. And I prefer when we don't really know what caused it. Yes, it can kind of leave it open ended, but
they actually do say in this movie what caused it.
They did.
It's one of the few zombie properties it's one of the few zombie properties that actually does point out exactly what happened to to start the whole problem.
Yeah, it was a contaminated burger.
Oh yeah, that's right. I forgot. Okay, well, either way, my point still stands. Of you either know how it started, or you're going to find the cure. And when obviously, like Walking Dead, they like Jeremy said, they stretched it way, way, way too far. I mean, I watched all of it because I'm a zombie nerd, but it is what it is. But no, the plot of this one is just, you've got Jesse Eisenberg trying to get home, and he knows there's probably nobody left, but that's the one thing from keeping him from putting a shotgun in his mouth is getting back to his family. And ultimately, he finds by the end of the film he had his family all along. Oh, isn't that sweet? But you've got
I ain't got survivors. I got family.
Well, and you've got Tallahassee. He doesn't really have a plot in this movie. He lost his son. You think it's the dog there for a while, whatever. But what this movie does right and other zombie media has done wrong is there's not one plot line. There's 3 or 4 that they mesh together, and it actually works. You've got the girls that want to go to the theme park. Tallahassee wants to go to Mexico. Jesse Eisenberg wants to find his family. Whatever it may be. And ultimately, really, this isn't a Fast and the Furious movie, but realistically, the plot is family when you think about it, because you've got 4 people who are out there on their own, and they end up finding each other, and they live, and there's a bunch of hijinks along the way. It works for what it is. It doesn't have to be. This isn't a Christopher Nolan film. This isn't 6 layers deep on plot. It works well for it.
Yeah, for me, I mean, like I said, this was kind of early on in the zombie onslaught of media that we got. But to me, it works because, like Tech said, there's only so many real storylines you can follow in a zombie-based property, and this is kind of like the funner one that you can do. You can. Like I personally would like to see one of these things come to a conclusion. It was one of the things that always kind of annoyed me about The Walking Dead is it was just like you're in zombie world and it's 27 seasons of being in zombie world, and I'm like, after about season 2, I would get kind of bored with it all. It's like show me a path to a clear ending. But this one, that's not really what this is about. This really is about the journey that these people find themselves on in the situation. The situation is what it is. You can't really change it. I mean, none of these 4 people are doctors. None of these 4 people are infected but immune, like we saw in Last of Us. So it really is just like, let's just show these people trying to get through this shit and having fun and poking each other. Let's have them be. I think it's kind of like if you took the family from Full House and put them in a zombie apocalypse, it would be something like this.
Oh,
it would be Jesse and Joey poking each other and being assholes towards one another while they're trying to survive this terrible thing that's killed half the world. That's kind of what it is you got this goofy family in the middle of this very serious situation. So you can either make it very serious like a Last of Us or Walking Dead, or you can make it super stupid fucking goofy, or you can take aspects of what's good about both those things and kind of make it into a movie called Zombieland. And that's kind of what it did. That's where the plot kind of worked for me.
Yeah, then you get Dave Coulier, hey, cut it out.
Yeah, exactly.
Could you imagine Uncle Jesse gets eaten? Uncle Jesse gets eaten by a zombie, and Michelle standing there and goes, "How rude!" Little tiny Michelle. That'd be a great shot of zombie.
Exactly.
He's like,
"Wait for me, I got little legs."
Just push DJ over, let the zombies eat her. And then the little girl be like, "Okay, dude."
"Okay, dude, you got it.
You got it, dude.
You got it, dude."
I need a Full House zombie movie now. I hate that you put that in my head. I know it's never going to be made, but I need to see that. That would be good.
We can do. There's some fan fiction out there that can be made, I'm sure of it. But let's talk about the obvious glorified cameo of Bill Murray. I mean, this thing couldn't have been handled a whole lot better. It's. I mean, look, as cameos go, this is kind of the perfect way to do it. You get a big name actor, somebody who everybody kind of loves. You drop him right in the middle of the situation, and you just be outlandish, write the funniest shit you can think of, and then let somebody like Bill Murray do it, and you end up with what we got from this movie. I don't know, Tex, did the Bill Murray cameo work for you? Because to me, to a lot of people, me included, this is kind of one of the things that kind of makes the film. What do you think of it?
I saw this in theaters. I had no idea Bill Murray was in this movie. I just like, ooh, zombie movie. I need to go see it. And when he stumbles out, I was like, holy crap, they got Bill Murray in a freaking zombie movie. And the theater, there was like you could hear people. Normally, I think it's very cheesy when people clap in the middle of a movie because it's like they can't hear you. This has been pre recorded. But whenever people were cheering and laughing, I was like, okay, this is deserved. And it completely took me by surprise. It was so much fun. The way just, he's walking around his house like, dude, they don't look at you and decide to eat you. They can smell if you're dead or not. You don't need any of this garbage. But no, Bill Murray was, oh my God, it was, I wish they wouldn't have killed him, but I knew they had to. I mean, I guess they technically could have left him alive and just like, okay, Bill Murray, thanks for helping us out. We're off to the theme park or whatever, and saved him for Zombieland future. But it is what it is. It's his cameo. I think is maybe the cherry on top of the reason why this film is loved so much because it's just so off the wall. Them pulling up to the star map and they blast two zombies and steal the zombie map, the map to the stars' houses or whatever, and then they go right to Bill Murray's house. You could have went anywhere. No, he was great. He was amazing.
Yeah, Jeremy, how about you? I mean, the Bill Murray cameo was one of the things that attracted people to this movie to begin with. What do you think of the way the cameo played out?
I mean, what better way to handle this, like you said, and just let Bill Murray be Bill Murray in this zombie apocalypse. It's still just hilarious watching, because for a second, you're with Tallahassee, like, wait, Bill Murray, you're a zombie? And he gets smacked. He's like, ow, oh my God, what? Why? You're like, wait, what? It's just meta. Geez. It's funny, Yeah, he would totally just be like, yeah, you know what? I just want to go out and live my life. I want to go play golf. I want to go see zombie Eddie Van Halen at the Hollywood Bowl. Like, why wouldn't you? It's funny, and it is one of the things that people definitely associate with this movie and this series now. I guess it is. We're all looking for that Bill Murray cameo, and it's just an extra funny layer to it. You can't. I mean. It fits the comedy of like the movie and what it's trying to do.
Yeah, if you're facing a zombie apocalypse, it feels like that's the perfect time for the dry wit of a guy like Bill Murray. It's like, yeah. I mean, yeah, you can want somebody around who's like super funny, but wouldn't you want somebody just to see like a zombie eating a corpse and just kind of like deliver some like really, as a matter of factly kind of line and just kind of like walk off like he didn't even say anything at all. I mean, that's kind of what that's always one of Bill Murray's best features is that he just say something have it be funny with no real inflection, no intent behind it, just say a line. And the situation that he's in and his delivery is the combination is what makes it funny. I mean, if you look at like Ghostbusters, for example, probably his best work, really. The thing that I'll always remember him for anyway, it's like most of his lines in that are he just delivers them kind of deadpan almost, but they work so well for that movie and the situation that he's in. It's the same thing. It's when Bill Murray does that, he's always hilarious. And you even go on to like the appearance that he makes in Double Tap in the beginning of the movie where he's doing the press for Garfield 3 or something like that.
Yeah,
outlandish shit.
Al Roker.
Yeah, Al Roker, and then he's just kind of so like he's so Bill Murray about that whole thing as well. It's actually very funny. But yeah, the Bill Murray cameo, it's like the rest of this movie is good on its own, but the Bill Murray cameo, talk about the cherry on top of the sundae. It's like that is just one of the things that just makes this movie that much sweeter, that much more entertaining to watch.
Well, see, that's one thing about Bill Murray in this film is normally. In a lot of zombie media, if you die, you end up becoming one of the dead. But whenever he gets shot in this film, they never show him turning. They just wrap him up and dump him off the side of the house or whatever. So I guess in this zombie world, you must be bit or get some of the DNA inside of you in order to turn, because we never see him turn once he's killed. So either they gave him the double tap, or you just die if you get shot or whatever. So I guess that's how their zombie world works.
I guess. But let's go on to some trivia now, and I've got a couple of zingers here, guys. A couple of good ones. I was actually really surprised for this movie. There wasn't a whole lot. I mean, usually I go back to movies that are 10 to 15 years old, and there's like 27 pages of trivia. This actually didn't have a long list. It had a couple of good ones though. I'll go back to the makeup stuff that we were talking about earlier. Let's see. Special effects makeup designer Tony Gardner, who helped Rick Baker create the signature look of Michael Jackson's music video Thriller, and has contributed to other Hollywood films such as 127 Hours, Hairspray, and There's Something About Mary, was brought on to design the look of the film Zombies.
Hell yeah.
I still say that Thriller is the best music video ever made. And obviously, Rick Baker, we've talked about him a little bit recently. Obviously, recently we talked about American Werewolf in London. I mean, if you're learning from that guy and you're still transferring your skills over to the practical effects, that's not a bad way to go at all. I mean, especially when you get to see those close-up zombies. Actually, you can tell now that I think about it. It's been a while since I've actually sat and watched the video. But there are some similarities to the close-up shots of the zombies in both the Thriller music video and this, especially when it comes to some of the detail about how pieces of their body, like I said, like the neck being missing a bunch of skin and tissue, and you can see like tendons and veins in the necks of the zombies where that flesh has obviously rotted away or been pulled away or whatever. It's stuff like that. I mean, those kind of details are very similar between the two properties. So you don't do yourself any bad juju by pulling in a guy who A, worked with Rick Baker, and B, worked on something like the Thriller music video, which to me is amazing. But let's see. Another one, this is from Woody Harrelson. Did you know that Woody Harrelson was arrested for marijuana possession during filming of this movie?
No way.
That was around that time,
marijuana.
Yeah. Right.
No way.
You know how long it ended up delaying shooting?
I have no clue.
1 day.
Nice.
Actually, I think I read somewhere that they filmed this movie over the course of, I want to say, like 40 days, which is not terrible long for something like a lot of special effects, a lot of actiony stuff that you might have to get a lot of takes. That's actually, I mean, only about a month shooting schedule. That's not bad. That's not bad.
Yeah.
I do know that like the theme park stuff took, I think it was 19 days is what I read or something like that. That took the longest part of it to do all the action-y kind of stuff. That's where most of it is at the end of the movie. But yeah, no, 40 days is not a long shoot.
And they actually filmed that first. Like they filmed the end of the movie first, I think. So they had to kind of like go back and do I was thinking like set pieces and how many extras you got. I'm like, that's either something you do last or that's something like you're doing that when you got everybody there and it's all hands on deck. You got a whole horde of zombies. You're trying to do your thing. So,
well, I mean, not just that, but that theme park that was a Six Flags in California, not Magic Mountain. I forget what the name of it is, but it's a theme park there in California. I think it was operating during the day. I'm not 100% for sure, but I know they were shooting at night too. Huh?
It was shot at the Screamfest theme park in Hollywood, California, amongst other locations.
Oh, okay. Yeah, they but no, I assume that's an operating theme park at the time. So obviously at 2 a.m. or 3 a.m. whatever, they're not going to be operating. So that's when. Plus, it will look better in the dark, anyways. Scary monsters in the dark is kind of the whole point.
It was also filmed in March of that year in Atlanta, Hapville, Morrow, Decatur, Newman, and Powder Springs, Georgia.
Yeah.
So Hollywood for some of the sets, in Georgia for the most part for the onset filming.
Well, it's funny enough, Walking Dead basically took over Georgia for.
I was gonna say Georgia became the zombie state, so
so Georgia basically pumps out zombie content these days. But no, 40-day shooting schedule. That's not a long shoot, but I mean, it's a zombie movie. What they shoot at that Indian resort a grocery store, a bunch of deserted places on the road, and I mean, a lot of these aren't extravagant shooting locations. You know what I mean? I mean, the whole opening of the film takes place in parking lots in a dorm room. They probably did that to the same place.
I would like to first of all know what kind of goddamn dorm room that he has. It looks like some like high end fucking apartment. But
right, yeah.
I digress.
Well, he was. Did you say he was?
We can't afford.
It said he was in college in Austin, right?
Austin, Texas.
Was it at UT? Yeah, well,
I don't. It just said college in Austin. I don't think it said an actual college.
Well, they don't say UT, but if you say if you say college in Austin, Texas, you're implying to the University of Texas, which, by the way, gig them and saw them off, put those horns down because I hate them. This is my college football coming out. Gig them Aggies. So, it's all good.
A little bit more trivia. I mentioned Powder Springs, Georgia. That is actually where actress Abigail Breslin celebrated her 13th birthday by adopting a shelter puppy. That shelter puppy is the one that Woody Harrelson is seen playing with in a flashback. So when he's talking about giving the puppy the bath,
I didn't know that.
That puppy was the puppy that Abigail Breslin adopted while she was in Georgia.
I did not know that one, actually. That's awesome.
I do know that she begged to be killed off and be turned into a zombie in this movie, but they obviously didn't do it. But she really wanted to be one of the dead people walking, but never got the opportunity. So it's all good.
Let's see. Getting back to it, I've talked. Obviously, we just talked about Bill Murray, his great cameo. Did you know that he wasn't originally going to be the cameo? Patrick Swayze was offered a cameo role as a zombie before his cancer diagnosis, but as his disease was starting to progress, he wasn't able to make it to the set. This scene would have parodied other Swayze movies like Ghost from 1990 and Dirty Dancing from 1987. The zombie cameo roles were also offered to Joe Pesci, Mark Hamill, Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson, Kevin Bacon, Jean-Claude Van Damme, and Matthew McConaughey. But for various reasons, they all said no.
I don't think it would have worked as well. I still Bill Murray.
Well,
I would have loved to have seen a Patrick Swayze zombie doing his Roadhouse stuff. Have him in those clothes. That would have been good.
If Patrick Swayze, look, honestly, Patrick Swayze, I mean, he wasn't known for his comedic stuff, but the guy had some comedic chops. I know this would not be one of Tex's favorite movies, but if you've ever seen Tu Wong Fu, the one where he dressed in drag for the whole movie,
yeah,
dude, I'm not gonna lie, that movie is hilariously funny. Yeah. It stars him, Wesley Snipes, and John Leguizamo as drag queens, and they're all driving across the country in some beat up convertible to go to some drag queen event of some kind, and they get stuck in some backwards town where whatever, and then of course there's some emotional stuff, blah blah blah. It's got Stockard Channing in it, who I absolutely love. Stockard Channing, and the whole movie he is dressed in drag with Wesley Snipes and John Leguizamo. So the guy's got comedy chops. I mean, and if you think about it, even in all of his dramatic movies, he spits out some funny lines. So I mean, I think that would have been interesting to see. I mean, as far as the other people, I mean, Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson, whatever. Joe Pesci could have been
funny. Overrated.
Joe Pesci would have been pretty funny.
Joe Pesci could have been funny. Kevin Bacon, I think, probably would have worked out pretty well.
Yeah.
Jean-Claude Van Damme, who since his career has kind of tapered off a bit since the actiony days of the 80s, early 90s, he's poked fun at himself quite a bit. I think
he knows how to have fun.
Matthew McConaughey, I think, could have done it. I think that would have been fun. The one that interests me though on this is Mark Hamill. I mean, if there's anybody that could have done this Bill Murray-esque type of cameo as well as Bill Murray did, I think it could have been Mark Hamill, because he himself is at times kind of made fun of his own career, making jokes at the expense of Luke Skywalker or Star Wars or whatever. I think that could have been fun.
Just like Jay and Silent Bob Strike Back, some shit like that. That's what I'm saying.
Yeah, I mean, So I mean, I think that would have been interesting, but whatever. We got Bill Murray. I'm very, very happy. I can't imagine it being written better than what we ended up getting. So I'm not going to look to give horse in the mouth. We got the good one, I think.
Out of that list of names, I still would have went with Bill Murray. There's a lot of good choices on there, but Bill Murray, his style of comedy works for what the role was. You know what I
mean? If the cameo wouldn't have worked, I might have been like, you should have given it to somebody else. Like I said, the Patrick Swayze thing would have been funny. I think that could have been interesting. Unfortunately, his health at the time wouldn't allow it. But I think we ended up getting the best that we could have possibly have gotten with the Bill Murray cameo. That's my estimation of all of it anyway. But moving on to some other potential, what could have been. It was revealed in the DVD commentary that Emma Stone was originally cast to play the role of 406 in the beginning of the movie. Yep. But thankfully, she was given a much bigger role to play. And thankfully, the role of 406 went to Amber Heard, who was one of the first people to die, to make Jeremy very, very happy.
No, tell me, what's your favorite part of the movie? My God. I couldn't. I mean, this is like also 2009. We were sitting there watching it, and Rich was like, wait a minute, that's Amber Heard? I'm like, yeah. I mean, you're talking like 15 years ago, but yeah. Or whatever it was. She's sitting there trying to.
I think this is before her big breakout as well. I think this is a couple years before.
Yeah, it was.
I think so. Well, the only other thing that I knew she did. This was 2009, right?
Yeah.
Actually, she did a movie a year before that in 2008 called Never Back Down, where she had a pretty significant role as like the girlfriend type character. So
okay.
But I mean, if I said, hey, have you seen Never Back Down? They're like, what? Like, I think 10 people have seen that movie, and I'm one of them. But
she was also in in that other Seth Rogen kind of comedy movie, The Pineapple Express, too. She was also in that as well.
Yeah. So I think she might have been getting there, but maybe just not quite. Well, she's sitting there trying to explain the story. All I was just like, I just wondered, well, so what happened? Oh, my dog stepped on a bee. Some homeless guy tried to eat me.
Well, bottom line is she got knocked in the head with the back of the toilet.
With the back of the toilet. Just
it all worked out the way it needs to.
How is
I think people even use that as some memes. Like when people were watching her just like completely fail miserably on the stand. Some people were using like every time they would just hit her with something, they fucking show that clip of her getting smacked with the fucking toilet. And I'm like, this is so amazing. I love it.
The one part of that scene that's the most unbelievable is somebody can sit there and drink that many Mountain Dews. How many cans were on that desk? Whenever he's sitting there, like right before Amber Heard comes in, where my God, that entire desk was covered in Mountain Dews. Like he has to feel his pulse and his teeth, his sugar levels are so high.
When you're gaming, when you're gaming, you got, trust me, that is legit. I can tell you from first-hand experience.
I mean, if that wasn't Mountain Dew and that was beer cans, he'd be on the floor at that point. You know.
I know I've brought this channel up to Jeremy, but have you ever watched Battlefield Friends on YouTube?
I think I know what you're talking about.
They joke about it there, but I mean, there's an episode where they talk about how the really hardcore gamers that play all the time, they never stop playing. They actually have shit buckets, so they don't have to stop playing. They just like move over from their gaming chair to the shit bucket and pull their pants down and shit while they're playing, and then they get back up, sit in their chair, and keep playing. That's not even a parody or a joke. I have read about people who have done what did I read about a while back? There was a guy who had actually had a stroke or a heart attack or something. A young kid, like early 20s. There was like guzzling energy drinks one after another.
Have you found any fucking Twinkies yet?
No, I still got snowballs.
I don't like coconut. Where are the Twinkies?
Well, you just got to wait your goddamn turn.
Motherfucker.
It's not the taste.
Maybe by the end of it, Jesus. Well, I was gonna say we just watched a thing where like, you know, an actual like ER doctor reacted to, and his wife actually, who was on the show, hilariously enough, 1,000 Ways to Die. And there was one of those stories where that guy, the kid was just sitting. It was a kid, yeah, just like he had a shit bucket. He had like all of his like food here. He had all of his drinks over here, and like I think he stood up real quick. I don't know, like you're committing yourself to doing that, and you stand up real fast. Yeah, he had like a heart attack or some shit, and he just died. I was like, yeah. I mean, yikes.
Yeah, I've heard a couple of stories. It's actually it's sad and ridiculous all at the same time. But you know.
See, I don't feel so bad anymore about how, you know, if I sit down and play for like a day or so, you know, I can get up and go to the bathroom and not have to have it right there.
Yeah. But moving on to another piece of trivia, you know, this screenplay was actually featured in the 2007 Hollywood Blacklist, a list of the most liked unmade scripts of the year. Do you guys know what the Blacklist is? Jeremy, you might. Tex, I don't know if you do or not.
Maybe.
There's this thing in Hollywood every year they release called the Blacklist. And it's not a bad list. It's actually a lot of producers and people in the industry will get together and they will list the top 15 or 20 scripts that have not been made into movies that people think are really, really good. But they just haven't been put into production yet for whatever reason. And they've actually, a couple of these have actually been made into films. What was the 47 Meters Down or whatever it is with the shark and all that?
Yes.
Was a script that was on the Blacklist for like 4 or 5 years. And finally somebody picked it up and was like, we're going to go ahead and make this movie. And Zombieland is one of the scripts that was on the Blacklist. I'm not sure exactly what is on the Blacklist right now. I wonder if I can find it.
Well, now, was this put on the Blacklist before or after they tried to make this as a TV show? Because that's what they were originally trying to do.
Yeah.
I don't know. Top 10 Hollywood Blacklist. Okay, when I put Blacklist, it goes back to the early 20th century with the people getting whatever. Let's see. 2021 Blacklist. I mean, it will at least give me, maybe this will. Let's see. I'm looking at the 2021 Blacklist. I'm trying to see if any of this ever actually got made. But not finding anything on this one, but I wish I could find a more updated version. That's something I'll have to look for a little bit. There's a biopic of Michael Bay that is on the Blacklist, apparently. I don't know if I'm ready for a Michael Bay biopic just yet. But,
I don't think he needs
all explosions.
It's just going to be
slow motion explosions.
His biopic will be an hour and a half of explosions and glare shots. That's what the whole thing will be.
Lens flare, yeah.
Yeah, just lens flares and explosions is all it.
Yeah, I'm not seeing anything on this 2021 list that comes to mind. But yeah, I mean, but I'm looking at Blacklist from 2021, which I would imagine there's a lot of shit on it because there was so much stuff not getting produced right around then. But yeah, biopics about Dennis Rodman going to Vegas and marrying himself, things like that. So yeah, I mean, there is this thing in Hollywood called the Hollywood Blacklist, and it's of scripts that a lot of people in the industry think are good, but don't ever get made, or or at least to that point haven't been made. But back to the Bill Murray cameo. Bill Murray did not originally have any lines after he was shot by Columbus in the film. The line about regretting Garfield was a line that was improvised by Murray in the moment.
That's perfect.
Yeah.
Because it feels deadpan and genuine. Where she's like, "Do you regret anything?" He's like, "Yeah, Garfield probably." I'm like, "Oh, God damn it, man!" Yeah, I believe you.
I wouldn't have even given him a script. I would have given him a general outline. Okay, give us 2 minutes worth of dialogue. Go. When you've got that kind of comedic genius, you don't tell it what to do. You just give it. You point it in the general direction and let nature take its course. I mean,
it would have been interesting, like I said, especially with Woody Harrelson being very much a Hollywood veteran at the time. It would have been interesting to have them do a scene where they're just ad-libbing. They're just going at it, back and forth. I am really disappointed to think that he didn't just look at him and say, "Okay, guys, sit here and have a conversation for 10 or 15 minutes." If there's some snippets that I can get out of that, or maybe it's all pure gold, it just in character go back and forth for a good 10 or 15 minutes, and we'll see if we can work it into the movie. I guarantee that those two guys could have put something really awesome together. I think that would have been fantastic.
Oh, yeah.
But maybe when they do Zombieland 3, we'll do a flashback to a conversation that they had or something like that before he died and whatever.
The conversation that we never knew about, when we were in the other room.
Yeah,
something like that.
Yeah, but Jeremy, you're the video game expert of the channel, and you even mentioned this game earlier. It has been said that this movie is based on the video game Left 4 Dead 2, which came out in 2009. Valve, the developers of the game, denied the studio permission to mention the game and company in the opening and end credits.
Well, would have been pretty fucking funny. Instead of World of Warcraft, he was playing Left 4 Dead or something.
It would have been.
Yeah.
Or maybe he was, and they just used some camera trickery to change the game he was playing.
I mean, yeah, and then it's a voiceover line. But I think it might have been. Yeah, I think it was near the end, like when Tallahassee's doing his thing, riding the rides and shooting. I mean, it's just you just one tap each zombies, you just go by and they all just drop dead. I busted out an old Xbox 360, and she'd never actually played Left 4 Dead or Left 4 Dead 2, so we sat down and played through both of them. And then we were just watching just before we came on the show, and she was like, "This reminds me of that game. Was that when we played in the Xbox?" I'm like, "Oh, Left 4 Dead." Yeah, right. I'm like, and I'm telling her, I was like, "Wait, this came out like those came out in 2008, 2009, the same as this movie." So like, that was that little pocket, and I was in like high school. This is like peak. I'm in the middle of high school, so this is like this fun little zombie bubble that I was in during that time, which I enjoyed. And have definitely not had on my mind ever since then. And you can ask Brooding Gamer this question. Ever since then, we'd always wanted to make our own like zombie, like Left 4 Dead type film. It was, oh man, it was a fun time. And then Walking Dead came out, and we're like, woo, it's a fun show. And here we are 11 years later. But yeah, I can see why, because it is just, it almost feels video gamey where you're just running around. I mean, there is a level where you are trying to get to a amusement park, and that's part of the thing. You run up and down the roller coaster, and you're just popping zombies as you go. You go through the tunnel of love. You go through the concession stands. There are clown zombies. It is a carnival type place, and when you do in fact melee the clown zombies, they do make a noise.
Oh,
they do that.
Yeah.
I was like, wait, I have it. When you punch the clown zombies, their noise is the clown nose. So I can see why.
Well,
that is one of my favorite levels.
Now, when it comes to the Left 4 Dead, I haven't played a console game. Now, I have played the mobile version of Left 4 Dead on the cell phone or whatever. Is that from the same people? Is it the same game or whatever?
I didn't know there's a mobile? Hold on.
Yeah, they had a mobile game. I'm sure it's still out there. I think I played it a year and a half ago or so ago. But in that version, there were very similar things to this film in the kind of comedic ways you kill zombies and stuff. But they had that game opens with like a gigantic mutated zombie. So that's why I wonder if that's the same franchise that you're talking about. I'm not sure that.
I don't know, because I don't even know if Valve is still around, because technically speaking, we kind of got like a I guess kind of a successor to Left 4 Dead called Back 4 Blood.
Oh wait, no. Sorry. I'm thinking of Dead Trigger. I'm thinking of a different game. My bad.
Okay.
Sorry, I put a different name. There's so many zombie games, they're basically the same thing. It's hard to tell. I told you the wrong one. No,
that's fine. Which was Back 4 Blood was mostly made by the same people who made Left 4 Dead. They're just in a different company now. So I'm like, yeah, you kind of got a weird successor to it. And yeah, it does open up with. I'm not gonna lie; those are still two of my favorite intros to a video game ever. The beginning of 1 and 2. It does a really cool job of showing you all the zombies and all the mutated zombies. which is borderlining on some Resident Evil type shit where I'm like, there's zombies. I wouldn't want to deal with this dumb shit where it's like, imagine like a zombie version of like the Thing mixed with the Hulk, from the comics as a zombie. Why? Why would you want to do that? Or, the little ones that jump on your back or the ones that jump on your head, the ones that grab you with their tongue and like try to suffocate you and shit. Jesus. No, thank you. As much as I love those games, goddamn, I would not want to be in that world. Oh my God.
I wouldn't want to be in the world of a lot of the video games that I've played.
No, definitely not.
But Tex, since you're closer to Mexico than either Jeremy or I at the moment, you'll want to commit this next one to memory. Twinkies really are called submarinos in Mexico.
Submarino. Hang on, let me write this down. Submarinos, El Twinkies, Mexico. All right, we're good to go. Just in case in case it ever happens and I have to head south, I'll have a snack.
Yeah, just in case you find your way to Nogales or Tijuana or some shit like that, you'll know what to look for in the store. Obviously there's a lot of comparisons made between anything zombie related and The Walking Dead. Zombieland was filmed in some of the very same locations that were later heavily used in the filming of The Walking Dead TV series.
Yeah.
Georgia.
Georgia became Zombie Central. So
yeah. Well,
that's kind of cool.
Georgia has a lot of film stuff. They did obviously Walking Dead, this film. They is it Pinewood Studios that they call it down there? Isn't that what they built or whatever? I know they filmed
huge film.
Rob Zombie filmed his Halloween 2 down there in Georgia to get more of a Haddonfield look. I forget the name of the town that it is. There's a lot of movies that are shot in Georgia. The TV show Swamp Thing that DC did when they had their DC app before that shut down, that was filmed in Georgia, but they shut that down because they didn't get the tax credits and it was too expensive to make, because they had to build swamps and whatever. But Georgia's got a lot of media that's shot in it. I mean, they've got whole setups down there.
Well, Pinewood is
not even count the Walking Dead stuff.
Yeah, Pinewood is a huge studio anyway. I mean, Pinewood Studios, the original Pinewood Studios in England, which is where Pinewood originated. There's actually a couple different studios around the world now, but Pinewood outside of Atlanta and Pinewood outside of London are the two biggest ones. The Pinewood Studios outside of London, they filmed many of the James Bond movies there. They filmed a lot of the Harry Potter stuff was filmed there. They filmed the first Alien, the first Alien film, Sigourney Weaver and stuff was filmed a lot of it on sound stages at Pinewood.
Wasn't the 89 Batman over there as well?
I don't know. To be absolutely honest, I could spend an entire 2 or 3 hours just going, because I've looked at the list on like Wikipedia before, and the list of movies that were made there are just outrageous. I mean, all kinds of comedies, a lot of sci-fi. I know Star Wars did some filming at Pinewood back in the 70s. Lucas was there doing some stuff for Star Wars. So yeah, I mean, Pinewood is just a huge name. And then eventually they opened the Pinewood Studios in Georgia, and Pinewood is where Disney does most of their filming on the Marvel stuff. I think even before Marvel was bought by Disney, they were already doing a lot of filming at Pinewood in Atlanta. So yeah, Pinewood is a huge name, and they film a lot of stuff there. I know. I think they filmed some of WandaVision there. I'm not exactly sure, but I mean, Pinewood is just a huge name in filming locations. Period. Huge sound stages. I mean, I know the Pinewood in England, it was most famous for having some of the water sets. And they do some stuff like in LA and stuff on the back lots, but they had like a huge water set that I think James Cameron used for some of the filming on Titanic. So I mean, they have like a huge tank where you could do a lot of shit, and you can like green and blue screens for background and all that you can actually film in like water. I think you may have even filmed pieces of one or both of the Avatar movies there. Probably the first one. But yeah, so I mean, that place has been huge in filming for probably 50 or more years. That's been one of the premier filming locations for big Hollywood movies. So yeah, I mean, Pinewood is one of the most sought after locations to film at. Well, let's see. Yeah, I mean, and obviously, there for those of you, I mean, Jeremy, of course, who was the '90s baby. Tallahassee says how much he loves Bill Murray. In the 1996 movie Kingpin, Woody Harrelson and Bill Murray were enemies.
Nice. Yeah.
Kingpin's a funny movie. I'm not going to lie. It's very goofy and outlandish, but it's hard not to laugh at that movie from start to finish.
I haven't seen that in forever. I think I can tell you the last time I saw that. I had to take my kid to the hospital, and we were there overnight, and that was playing on television. And that's when I watched that film. That is a funny one. I'd like to go back and rewatch that one. That was a good one.
Actually, speaking of 90s, 1997, Anaconda was her first R-rated film. It's just too bad that movie's PG-13.
That wasn't our film.
But whatever. I'll let it go because
okay. I get it. Yeah.
Emma Stone said it, so Jeremy's going to let it go.
I'm willing to let that one slide.
Usually I'm the one over here crushing on the hotties. Me and Jeremy swapped for this review. I mean, I like how we did that.
Man. Like that, this movie, that dude, no, that character, I'm like, that is my type to a T. It's not even funny. So,
that's funny.
I mean, I'm not gonna lie. I mean, when she turns around that one, when they're shooting the zombies, she stops for that second and just unloads on like 4 or 5 of them, and it gets more close up in her face. Now it's just like, oh my god, I need to sit up.
I will say Emma Stone looks better brunette than redhead. I will say that. I'll give her that much credit. It's not my type, but she looks better in this movie.
Works better with the darker hair.
Yeah. The brunette definitely works better for her, especially the blonde hair of Gwen Stacy. I didn't like the blonde hair of her Gwen Stacy either.
Yeah, but I mean, you can't. It also didn't work when Bryce Dallas Howard tried to put blonde hair on for Gwen Stacy, and I was like, "What the fuck are you doing? What? No, take that off."
I thought she did. I liked her better blonde. I liked her as Gwen Stacy better.
Oh no, I like the red hair.
I don't either. I'm not. I've never been with a redhead, and I have no plans to. No, thank you. So,
I was with one, but
yeah, she's definitely.
I was always told that. Anyway. I was always told that they have no soul, so I'm just going to stay away.
Hey! My mom is a redhead. She's in the chat. You watch your fucking self, Tex.
Well, okay. Every redhead besides Grimm's mother, please forgive me, ma'am. She's a good God-fearing woman. The rest of them are the devil. Is that better? Am I forgiven? Okay.
Do not speak ill of BJ. Do not.
It's not a place you want to go.
Circle the wagons on that one, baby. But
that's fair.
No, I'll go back to some more Twinkie stuff. Although his character is on a constant hunt for Twinkies, Woody Harrelson is a vegan and does not eat Twinkies, which contain eggs and beef fat. According to Harrelson, the filmmakers made a special fake Twinkie out of cornmeal for him to eat at the end scene of the movie. That must have tasted like absolute ass. Cornmeal.
What was the filling then? So obviously, the cornmeal would be the puffy outside. What would the filling have been? That's interesting.
There are
Could it still be marshmallow fluff? Because isn't marshmallow vegan?
I don't know.
I have no idea.
I'm not a vegan. I don't fucking know.
I'm not either. I don't know.
I would rather kill myself than be a vegan. I was going to say, I couldn't be vegan.
But I mean, look, I
that's why I order 2 hamburgers so that when a vegan thinks they're doing something good, I just snatch that one away from you.
Yeah, it's like buy a hamburger, I'll eat it. Yeah, while I occasionally love, there are some vegetarian dishes that I like and stuff like that. But I mean, for the most part, I'm a meat eater. Sorry, I don't feel bad about it.
Yeah, same.
Hey,
I'm not gonna
circle life, man. Circle life. But let's see. We'll talk a little bit now about what could have been Zombieland. Development for Zombieland began back in 2005 when Reese and Warnick, the writers, originally wrote the film as a spec script for a television pilot. Fleischer helped develop the teleplay into a screenplay and made it a self-contained feature. Now, let me do a little bit more reading on this. And again, this is according to Wikipedia, as a real quick look up, so may or may not be entirely accurate. But in October of 2011, it was reported that Fox Broadcasting and Sony were considering a television adaptation of a series to be aired on CBS, with Wernick and Reese writing the script, but with the main actors of the original film likely not returning. The television program was planned to begin in the fall of 2012. These plans did not come to fruition. In 2013, in January, it was revealed that the casting call for the production just went out for the main characters, with a few changes to the movie for the show and the addition of 2 new characters called Atlanta and Ainsley. In March of 2013, it was announced that Amazon Studios had ordered a pilot episode. Reese Wernick and Pallone, who's one of the other writers, were joined by Eli Craig, who was another director known for Tucker and Dale versus Evil. Yeah.
I love that.
He directed the pilot. Yeah, Tyler Ross was to play Columbus. Kurt Ward was to play Tallahassee. Mariah Walsh was to play Wichita. I don't think I've seen her in anything. I'm looking at her right now. She's been in some smaller things. I'm drawing a blank on it. And Isabella Vidovic was supposed to play Little Rock. I have no idea anything she's been in. But a new character named Detroit, which was going to be voiced by Kendra Fountain, was introduced as an ex-OnStar operator serving as the gang's navigator. That had some comedic possibility. The pilot was released in April of 2013 to Amazon Video. On May 17th of 2013, Rhett Reese, creator of the TV adaptation, announced that Zombieland the series would not be picked up to series by Amazon. Reese commented on the fan backlash saying, quote, "I'll never understand the vehement hate the pilot received from diehard Zombieland fans. You guys successfully hated it out of existence."
You know what we like?
Well, apparently nobody did. Apparently the people that did, I would be surprised. I'll have to go and look. I'd be surprised that if you went on Amazon and looked for this, you would even find it. They probably just pulled it and canned it.
Well, right? If it's just a pilot, you're not gonna bother. If it didn't get past that, then it's not worth.
I'd be willing to bet if you looked on the internet deep and wide enough, you might find it somewhere. But I've never even heard of it.
Hey, we managed to keep the Star Wars Holiday Special around, and George Lucas wanted all that shit burned. And we're like,
well, that's what I'm saying. If freaking Nosferatu and freaking Cannibal Holocaust made it, I got a feeling this probably made it around too. You know what I'm saying? I'd love to see it. Right. Well, that's what I'm saying. I mean, I've seen probably 15 different versions of Cannibal Holocaust, and all of them claim to be the true version or the complete version, even though they're all not, because there's no way to get the actual full version of that movie. But
I'm trying to remember which one I have. I don't know if it's like
dude, I've seen. I'm not kidding. I've seen probably 10 to 15 different cuts of that movie because it was chopped up, and then somebody comes along. Oh, well, I've got the original stuff from blah blah blah, and then it comes. It's so convoluted. We will never see the original intent of that film. But I mean,
I've just got like a
Zombieland. Go ahead.
No, I just got I don't have the original film reel of it or anything like that. I'm like, I've just got a copy of it on DVD. I don't know what. Really, the only different versions that it asked you was, do you want it with or without the animal cruelty? And I'm like, well, I don't know. I guess
I'll watch it. Did you get this prior to the ASPCA buying the rights to it?
I think I even looked up on Amazon, like, when did I buy this? Because I don't remember. I think it was 2017. So
because I forget what year it was, but the ASPCA bought the rights to Cannibal Holocaust and basically just canned it, like Frank was saying with his Amazon Zombieland thing or whatever. They're like, this is never getting out ever again, so good luck.
Oh, maybe I got it then before that because I got it on Amazon. I mean, I'm probably on a list now, but for buying it, but
So I just pulled up Amazon on my iPad, put in a quick look. I put in Zombieland series. It does not come up. The only thing that comes up is Zombieland Double Tap with bonus features, which you can buy on Amazon. Love and Monsters, some movie I've never heard of. American Zombieland from 2020, which is obviously
no
Small Parts from 2020. Actually, I think it's an IMDb documentary thing more than it's the movie. And American Ultra because it's got Jesse Einsberg in it. That's the only thing that comes up. So when I type up Zombieland series, those are the only things that come up. Everything but the Zombieland pilot. So obviously they have kind of tried to bury that thing, and they're probably better off. but whatever. But that seems like a good place to start wrapping things up. I don't know. Again, let me get your guys' final views on Zombieland the film. I'll start with you first, Tex. Sum up what you think about the movie as a whole.
One of the greatest zombie properties ever made, and I make no bones when I say that. It's a fun watch. It's got great kills. It's got great comedy. It's got good gore. It's got everything you want from something like this. It doesn't take itself seriously. It's an easy watch. It's like 89 minutes, I think. You don't. It's a popcorn movie done at its very best level. And if you haven't seen it, go check it out because hey, you can learn your rules for the after. Once the apocalypse hits, whether it's Russia or zombies, whatever it is, you can know how to survive people. So go do some homework.
Yeah, Jeremy, how about you? Zombieland. Give us your thoughts on the film overall.
I absolutely love this movie. I did make a top 10, or top 10. Wow, a top 5, not top 10 yet, but I put it in there for sure. It could even be considered a comfort movie. Yeah, it could even be considered a comfort movie for me. I could watch it in the background, and again, just because funny enough, one of my comfort movies I watch when I'm sick is actually an Emma Stone movie. It's Easy A. Come at me.
That's a funny movie.
It's a funny movie. I always just watch it when I'm sick. I don't know. So it's just always fun for me. But yeah, it's a funny movie. If you've never seen it, I don't know what's wrong with you. Watch it. Watch the sequel. It's both very good. And well, I think now that we're ending the show, I think our quest has finally come to an end.
Oh, we got a damn Twinkie.
There are 2 in there, you bastard. Come on now. We're gonna like touch tips and be cute and like make a toast, but no, now you ruined that. Man. Here, take my. That was gonna be my sign off. Was the toast with the Twinkies, but no.
We can toast.
You want a toast? Okay.
Yeah, we can toast. Here's your Twinkie. Maybe.
Don't break my Twinkie, man.
God, they're so fucking sticky.
Yeah, they're not gonna make me go vegan.
There
But hey,
no
whatever.
coconut on that.
Yeah.
A zombie
Twinkie.
Hang on a minute. Do y'all remember when this last Ghostbusters? And I mean, they've been in our previous Ghostbusters film. They had the slime green Twinkies. Do y'all remember seeing those in the stores?
Yep.
They should have had one of those, considering Bill Murray is in this movie, and obviously they play the Ghostbusters theme. How did they not include a Ghostbuster Twinkie? And I mean, he loves. I mean, that would have been the perfect crossover. I just realized that, but that could have been
because you don't want to put a gimmick inside a gimmick. I mean, that's kind of reaching.
I guess that's putting a hat on a hat. I don't know. It could have been good for a laugh. Just having like sitting in the background or something could have been funny. I don't know. Figure it out.
Hey, speaking of zombies and hats on hats, if you want a funny parody zombie movie, go watch The Walking Deceased. That shit's funny.
Oh, I've seen
Puts
that.
The hat,
yeah.
And it is actually the Tallahassee character, who puts his hat on top of the Andrew Lincoln, on top of his hat. He's like, all right, get your goddamn Kenny Chesney Kid Rock poser hat off my Stetson. God damn it. He's like, well, Sheriff, you're the sheriff now. Put 2 hats on his head. Why? That's a funny movie, too.
I haven't seen it, but I'll have to check it out now. Yeah, I mean,
we watched it.
Did we watch it?
Yeah, The Walking Deceased. We watched that.
We did. You brought that over to my house one night.
I did.
Okay, I remember now. Okay, I remember now.
Because it was like that and the Banana Splits we watched.
Yes, that's true. We watched the Banana Splits the same night. Okay,
we did.
Now. Okay, yeah,
that was
good double feature. Good double feature. But yeah, for me, I mean, look, Zombieland's kind of it's not even a guilty pleasure film. It's you can expect something from this movie, which I think a lot of people didn't expect anything from. You can expect a lot of the right amount of emotion. You can expect the right amount of action. You can expect a lot of gunshots and gunfights if that's your thing. You can expect a lot of zombies and blood if that's your thing. You can expect some decent dialogue in spots if that's what you want, and some relationship shit along the way. It's a pretty complete film. Again, I talk about this all the time when it comes to things like The Expendables. a movie that doesn't pretend to be what it's not. It just gives you the movie that it was meant to be. And that's what Zombieland does, much like The Expendables. It doesn't pretend to be high art. It's just like, I'm going to make this outlandish movie about these 4 crazy fuckers who get together in a zombie apocalypse. And here it is. Enjoy. And because you just worked on giving us a good story and some good characters, it works. You take the pressure off yourself by just making a kind of movie that you'd want to watch. And then you end up making a movie that a lot of people want to watch. You know what I mean?
I just had a brainwave. Do you think you could consider this movie what Scream is to horror? This could be for the zombie movie. It's kind of like self-aware of itself.
Very
kind
meta.
Of fun of,
yeah,
a little bit.
This could be a meta.
I think it works.
Yeah, not. I don't think that Scream is as meta. One of the things that I've always found interesting about the original Scream, something like a quality about it that I liked, is that there are a couple of key points in the movie where it does kind of almost make fun of itself, but not in a spoofy way. I mean, the best part is, you mentioned earlier when she's walking away and she's like, oh, wait a minute, I got to handle one more thing. And then she walks back and puts the bullet in the guy and she's like, just to make sure. That was a very serious moment that does, in a way, kind of attack the trope of the killer's never really dead, but at the same time completing the story that is put forth in this movie. There's a couple points in Scream where they do that. And I thought it was done very, very well. Again, the first Scream, I don't like the series as a whole. The first Scream and the last couple of Scream movies have actually been pretty good. And I think that's one of the things that they do is they're self-aware without being kooky and cartoonish and spoofing themselves. That is kind of a meta self-awareness that is much more serious. But it acknowledges that horror tropes exist in their world, because that's one of the things. I mean, even the great horror films that I grew up on, like Friday the 13th and stuff like that, they seem to exist in a universe where tropes don't exist. And I'm like, and Scream exists in our world almost, to where it recognizes those tropes. And the character that Jamie Kennedy plays, he's the one that kind of puts it all out there. Yeah, everyone's a suspect. Never say I'll be right back. That kind of thing. Is they are aware of the horror movie tropes, and while it doesn't use them all, occasionally it will address one or two of them in the seriousness of the moment. Like I said, the best one being when Sidney Prescott turns back around and puts one more bullet in dude's head, and she's like, okay, now I'm sure this is over. The moments like that are actually really cool.
It's fun, yeah, because like zombie movies not having the zombie media in its world, because it's like, everyone would immediately know that's a zombie, and then that shit would get stomped out so fast. So, but me being the nerd I am, I'm like, Walking Dead already kind of ruined that by trying to act like it didn't have any knowledge of zombies. But in season 2, when Glenn's talking to Maggie and he says like, oh yeah, when I used to, play the video game, play Portal. And she's like, what? He's like, it's a video game. She's like, of course it is. And like, they're arguing. I'm like, dude, Portal was made by Valve. Valve made Left 4 Dead. You just fucked yourself right there. I know you didn't explicitly say Left 4 Dead, but I'm like, okay, but you can't drop a Portal reference and be like, oh yeah, that was made by the same company that made Left 4 Dead. So whatever.
I gotta disagree though. I think that yes, okay, Scream is more on the nose with it, and they call out Halloween, Friday the 13th, Texas Chainsaw. They give you all of them. Now in this film, the only other title that they straight up call out is obviously Ghostbusters, but I still would count that as the meta version of the zombie genre. I mean, because if Ghostbusters exist in this world, then you can make a case that Halloween and Chainsaw and everything else does as well. They just don't flat out say it. Now if they had said, "Oh, well, I saw this in Shaun of the Dead or Night of the Living Dead," or any of the other zombie films, Return of the Living Dead, whatever it may be, I think this is the equivalent, but to a lesser degree, if that makes any sense. But I mean, obviously the meta is there. You just have to reach for it a little bit more. You know what I'm saying? I think, Scream is just blah, here it all is. That Scream is trying harder than this film does. But, I think they're both great films. Though. I love the Scream franchise. I like all of them. Hell,
Yeah,
I even like Scream 3.
Yeah, I thought Scream did it well. It was just more subtle.
Yeah, like it
Right.
wasn't kind of being more. I see what you're saying. I was kind of like it's similar in that way that it's like for what Scream does with horror movies. It's like this one kind of did with like the zombie genre that they're aware that these are zombies and this is what you should do. You know. And here are the rules.
But ultimately, a good movie. I hope you guys will check it out. It's on Netflix. If you have a subscription to Netflix, you can watch it for free. Zombie Double Tap is available. It's behind a paywall on lots of other places, but I'm sure you can find it somewhere. Or maybe if you're still a physical media person, you could probably find this stuff on eBay or Amazon or something like that for relatively cheap if you're still into the physical media stuff. Yeah, I want to thank my co-host for coming to hang out with me tonight. Lady Cora couldn't make it tonight, but she will hopefully be back on Thursday. I'm looking forward to seeing her again for whatever movie we decide to do. And my co-host tonight, awesome job as usual. I guess when anything blood related, I guess it's just fine. It's just great to get you guys on camera and start talking about it when it comes to blood, and spitting ass, and maybe the occasional boob. But to my hetero life mate, Jeremy, what do you got going on, my friend?
Well, you do stuff like this, and it gives me an opportunity to practice drawing on my face. So I put on my face for all of you today. Yeah, it's getting to be spooky season. I was just thinking about it, like, oh yeah, this is a holiday weekend, and I'm like, oh shit, literally the weekend right after that is set up for that weekend, which is opening weekend for the haunt I work at. So I'm excited. So I've been messing with some makeup stuff. This was kind of, I don't know. I did this in like 20 minutes and I was panicking because it was almost 8 o'clock. And luckily Frank said, I'm doing 8:30. I'm like, oh, thank Jesus. Okay. That's the best thing you could have done for me. I was like, okay, good. I have a little bit more time to do something here. Even though I did like the raccoon shit. I'm like, if I had I'm missing one thing, one little specific color stack. And I wish I had it. This could have looked a lot cooler. My eyes like all sunken in and shit, but
downlighting.
Well, yeah, if I look down like that, it's like look at that, like that.
If you this is one of the things they do. It's one of the things they do in Hollywood to accentuate a guy's abs. Like if he has 6-pack abs, they'll downlight him. They'll light, but it works out very well. It's actually one of the things I think I've read that Cesar Romero did this when he was doing like the original Night of the Living Dead and all that. That one of the things he would do is he would shade in the eyes and he would put some shading on the cheeks and then he would light from the top down.
Oh yeah.
And that would make the shadows kind of accentuate that thing so it would look more sunken in, even though it wasn't really a sunken in face.
Because like if I do this, it looks kind of weird. But if I like go like that and like the eyes pop out a little bit, yeah.
That was cool.
Yeah, downlight. It's one of the lighting tricks in Hollywood I've read about over the years.
Yeah, I'm just sitting here with a light. Spooky stuff's coming. I might start posting some stuff because I need to start making some cosplay for a Rocky Horror Picture Show showing. So I might start doing some of that.
Well, see, when that comes up, you'll have to let us know so we maybe do a review of Rocky Horror Picture Show. I'm sure Tex is gonna love that.
Well, I'm doing Meatloaf. I'm doing Meatloaf's character.
I love Tim Curry, but I don't need to see him in drag. Sorry, that's not, as Austin Powers would say, that's not my bag, man.
A classic fucking movie. A classic movie.
Yes. Yeah, it's gonna for me. It's gonna be busy doing Halloween stuff. I've been ruining everyone else's life by getting them all into Fortnite because I'm just that good of a friend.
Hey, we got a solid win last night. A solid win.
Yeah. It's the best is when you don't even know, like, oh, that was the last guy. Oh shit, you're just like so hyper focused on trying to kill, the last teammate. But yeah, I don't know. I've got this little setup here where I've got a second screen, so maybe I can actually start recording some stuff. Maybe if I ever stop being so lazy at being a content creator. But yeah. And I had to figure out what to do with these damn snowballs, so now I have to eat them or something. I don't hate coconut, but I mean,
it's not the taste. It's the texture.
Yeah, I know. I chose the Twinkies over the snowballs because we have class here. Okay.
And to our man, the shape from the Lone Star State, the best thing to come out of Texas, and somebody decided to put the words "you" and "all" together to make y'all. What do you got going on, my friend?
It works, my man. Obviously, getting ready for Saw Timber around these parts on this channel. The homework is still being put in. It's quite
Yep.
extensive, but I love every second of it. So yeah, make sure you're the last 3 Mondays in September. Make sure you're here. We're doing all the Saw shows, so it's obviously Saw X is coming out. Jeremy and I will be nerding out over some just good, glorious wrist slitting, needle pits and heads being smashed. It's fun. It's going to be great.
And
it's
I'll
gonna be
have
cool.
red eyes that time instead of white.
Right. And I do have a film suggestion for you fine folks. Since it's, I thought it was appropriate, and I found it on Tubi again. Zombie Strippers, one of my favorite zombie movies ever made. This has zero class. It's nasty gore. It stars Robert Englund and Jenna Jameson and other porn stars in it. It's a great movie. There is a zombie fight where zombies shoot pool balls out of a very interesting body part. I'll leave that up to you when you watch the film. But go watch Zombie Strippers. It's on Tubi. It's free. It costs you nothing. So go watch Zombie Strippers.
Actually, they do make fun of that in Walking Deceased. They do make fun of zombie strippers. There's a whole scene for it.
Yes. I love Zombie Strippers. It's in my top 5 of zombie media. It is like they had me in mind when they made this movie. I'll leave it at that. But it is what it is.
This is the man who thought Oppenheimer was boring.
Hey, if you put Zombie Strippers and Oppenheimer, I'm going Zombie Strippers. Sorry, every single time. Oppenheimer can go whatever. Win all the awards. I don't care. Give me zombies eating each other and naked women. That's what I'm here for. I like to party. You know what I mean? So.
Well, when we give our awards out at the end of the year, you can give it to Zombie Strippers and Frankenhooker all you want.
Hey, somebody has to. All you bunch of snobs want to, sneeze at it. That's fine. All good.
As for me, you can find me here Tuesdays, Thursdays, and I think I'm going to put some more thought into it. I'll get the text and some of the people that will probably be involved, but I think Wednesdays might be football talk day. So I'll get with Tex and 1 or 2 other people that might be around. We'll go over the 1 or 2 big football stories of the week, and then we'll do some fancy discussions. We'll make Wednesday a fancy football day. And other than that, Tuesdays and Thursdays we'll stay regular review days. And I'm really looking forward to Monday Night Saw coming up with you guys. I think that's going to be a lot of fun. There's a lot of horror people in this film community that we're in on YouTube with people like Night Watch Zone and all that. So there's definitely a lot of fun to be had with you guys. I know I'm looking forward to watching Tex and Jeremy quarterback that whole thing and just really go do a deep dive into Saw. And then maybe if Saw works out, maybe they'll pick another franchise after that, and we'll make it a regular thing, and they just break down a horror franchise, one movie at a time or in blocks. You never know.
See. Because then you're stuck with me as host. You don't get Frank for this one. You get me, and then you get him. Text. So I'm in the driver's seat for that one.
You're not going to have to twist my arm too hard to go deep dive nerdy stuff on horror stuff. You're not going to have to.
Oh, I don't have to put you in the. I don't have to put you in the rack and just twist your arms all the way around.
No. If you're gonna put me in the reverse bear trap, so I can at least get a cool selfie out of it. Right before I die.
Not gonna lie. I mean, because I had not seen 7. Holy shit! Seeing that thing actually do what it's supposed to do, I was like, whoa. Okay. I see you, Saw.
There will be blood, buddy. There will be blood. You just wait. Just wait for Monday Night Saw. We're going balls deep on this fight. It's going to be great. So.
I wouldn't want to go balls deep to anything about Saw because you might get your balls lopped off. But I look forward to watching you guys go balls deep, though.
Yeah, it's going to – oh, my God. It's going to be fun. Like I said, I'm now into the air. Like I said, Tex, I'm like, I will do it for this. I'm going to get through the end of this now. Now I'm in the territory of where I haven't seen any of this stuff. It's all new to me now. So, and I like 7, so I'm like, you know what? Maybe I just didn't give it a fair shake. So I enjoyed
everything short of. I don't count that Chris Rock abortion. That's not a Saw movie. There's never been a bad.
I believe you. I believe you. I'm kind of like.
Yeah, I don't even. Whatever. We'll talk about it in a few weeks. But you'll have to wait for that. I ain't doing it for free right now. So.
Well, we're not getting paid by YouTube, so we are doing it for free.
Yeah, really. But thank you all very much for coming out with us tonight. We very much appreciate it. We'll see you guys back here on Thursday. Until then, adios.
I wonder which one of us would get eaten first in the zombie apocalypse. I'm voting probably Cora. Like somehow that she probably wouldn't make it alone.
No, all four of us that are regulars. All four of us that are regulars in the show have guns. So.
But I mean, I've got a bad knee. I don't know about cardio.
Oh, that is true. Can we bring Gamer? Okay, if there's ever an apocalypse, I'm bringing Gamer with me so I can shoot him in the knee. I'll be the Shane and
He's gonna Shane
sacrifice
Walsh his
somebody.
ass.
So I can. I will be the Shane to his Otis. Is what I will be. I'm willing to do that. It's fine.
Dirty.
Dirty.